Hi, Mr. Tom.
Hi, Chris.
How's it going?
It is going well.
Well, good. We're out in our family plot garden,
Yep.
and you're going to show us how to plant strawberries.
Yes, and UT has a recommended way of doing it
Okay.
for commercial farmers or garden strawberry growers. And I figure if it's good enough for them, which their livelihood depends on, it should also be good for us in our home gardening.
Well, it should work pretty good. UT has some good stuff, huh?
Absolutely.
Good.
That's one of my reference points always.
Good. Glad to
For
hear
the
it.
first place to go. Okay, well, one of the things they recommend is a white covering over the soil. Now, normally they prefer a long dome shape one, raising it off the ground. But in our particular conditions, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
But the white cover is, and it has three functions. Number one, it keeps the strawberries off the ground,
Okay.
so you don't get any rotting of strawberries or those little critters eating the bottom of them. Number two, it retains moisture. And finally, number three, that it reflects the heat. As you know, in the Mid-South, rain is very few and far between in the summertime. So that's how we're going to plant them.
Okay.
What this is actually just a shower kernel liner from a dollar store.
Okay.
Obviously, it costs $1.
All right.
Okay, they're 70 inches by 72 inches. So what I did is I cut it long ways in 4 strips, or basically quartering it.
Okay.
And the reason for that is I get more bang for the buck.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what we did is we laid out 2 of those strips together. They're approximately 6 feet long, and I overlapped them about a couple inches. And the purpose of overlapping them is because we don't get that rain in the summertime. I can open it up right there and water it,
All right.
and then cover it back up again.
Smart. Smart.
That way,
Okay.
it's so much easier to water that way.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to go ahead and plant our strawberries.
All
Now, UT again recommends spacing them approximately 12 inches apart in 2 rows, with each row offset of each other by about 6 inches.
Okay.
So it gives them more room to grow. So let's get to it.
All right.
Okay, what I'm going to do again is just cut some slits into the plastic where I'm going to plant them. And just cut a lip. It slices up real easy. All right, now we're going to go ahead and plant them. Since these are already in pots, it makes it easier. We're going to get a sooner crop and don't have to worry about drying out as quick. Okay, Chris, may I?
Yes.
Okay,
Nice plants, don't you think?
Absolutely,
Yes.
they're very healthy looking.
Now, how deep would you plant those?
Actually, just you actually should tear this. Let me tear this off here at
Okay.
the top, because you do not want any of the pea pot sticking above the ground. What it'll do is just wick out the moisture. This is the crown right here. You don't want it any deeper than that.
Okay.
If worse comes to shove, you may have it a little bit higher. But typically you plant it where the crown is even with the soil, or at least the same depth that it was in the pot.
Okay.
There we go. Well, the first one is planted. Now we can go on to the next one.
Okay.
And by the way I'm holding these things down is I'm using these little garden stakes you get for putting on ground cloth. It holds them down fine, and they come up easy. And they're cheap. You can also make your own from the old-fashioned metal coat hangers. On to the next one.
Okay.
Again, approximately 12 inches, right about there. One nice thing about raised beds is it's usually good soil all the way down, so you usually don't have that clay layer as you do in a typical garden. Now, your average garden plant, vegetable plants, the root zone is about 6 inches down, which is fine because our topsoil is usually only about 6 inches deep anyway. All right.
All right. And before I hand that to you, let me take this weed seed that's in there out of there.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to introduce that?
No. Again, peeling off the top of the peat pot and popping it in there. And I have no problems using my fingers. Yeah, I guess a happy gardener is one who's got dirt under their nails. And strawberries is not a very critical plant. You give it just a light touch and so forth, that's cool. There's only so much energy available from any plant, be it tomato plant, pepper plant, or strawberry plant, for producing the fruit. Thus, the first strawberries are going to be good size, but then as more and more strawberries appear, they're going to get progressively smaller. So if you want big strawberries, you do need to thin out the blossoms. If you don't care, then just let them produce. Okay, this is the last one of the 10.
All right, it's looking good too.
Yeah. Now, typically they will produce their additional runners, which you can pot up or put them in containers and save them for next spring. Strawberries plants are usually good for about 2 years, and then they gotta be replenished. And you can use runners to replenish them.
Do we need to remove any of the flowers, any of the berries that are present on the
Well,
plants right now?
I previously mentioned that the fewer flowers, the fewer the strawberries, the larger the strawberries are going to be. Now my son, he likes to do them and gives them away, but he gets them about that big and dips them in chocolate and then makes swirls around them and the whole bit. But so the fewer, the bigger they're going to be.
Sure.
The ones you pick off, the small ones, they're edible. They're just not as pretty as the big ones are.
Sure.
And then if you all remember that we have 2 pieces of plastic here, and the reason for that, so I can open up the center one, take those little clips out, water it, and then put it back together again. As far as the dirt, it looks kind of messy on the outside, but the first rain is going to wash it all
Mother
off.
Nature take care of that.
So they'll handle it.
All right.
They're healthy plants, and
They look good.
I expect them to be good, and I'll be out here in a month picking. No.
Yeah. And I don't beat you to them. I love
Yeah, you
strawberries.
probably will be.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Todd, we appreciate that
Okay,
demonstration.
my man.
Thank you much.
I enjoy doing it.
All right. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. To find out more information on this topic, just click on the familyplotgarden.com link in the description.